Should you go to college? Now, if you're someone who got a degree and you're successful, this video is not necessarily for you. I'm making this video for someone who was like me at the time I was going into college, leaving high school, and even the first few years in college, because I was someone who knew I wanted to be some sort of an entrepreneur. When I was 17 years old, I made $500 profit off of one pair of sneakers that I flipped. I got pretty lucky with it, I will say, but I made $500 profit off one pair of sneakers, and I knew that getting a regular job wasn't going to be the thing for me, and I knew I was interested in real estate, and I was trying to figure it out even from a young age, like 17 years old. I remember sitting down at the bank trying to figure out how I could get a mortgage, and they're like, you're not even old enough to get a credit card yet, so we can't quite give you a mortgage. But I was trying to figure it out because I knew something with real estate investing, something with entrepreneurship, something with business was going to be the direction I was going to go. But when you're leaving high school, really just the next logical step, if you're not already making money, is to go to college. So that's what I did. I went to college and I decided I was going to study entrepreneurship. And I was just going to school, doing the classes, doing what you do. And I realized at a certain point, getting an entrepreneurship degree isn't necessarily going to get me a job. And I was in the position where I was paying money out of pocket to go to school. Now, if you've got a full ride scholarship, and even some people with the scholarships and grants that you get, it overlaps and you actually get paid to go to school. So I don't think it's a bad decision to finish school if you're in that situation. But if you're someone like me, you know you want to do something entrepreneurial or even be an intrapreneur, which is where you're not necessarily the owner of the business, but you're kind of in an entrepreneurial role, maybe sales, maybe in the leadership of a small startup or business, but you're not the guy that all the responsibility falls on. I think it is great to just find some sort of situation where you can make money underneath some sort of a mentor. And I think the easiest way that I found is if you can get into some type of a sales position in a medium-sized business, not something massive. You're not going to go try to, get a sales job in Google or a big software company or anything like that, but something that is doing well, people are buying it, they have customers, and you can go in and do sales and learn the skills that make money so that you can learn everything you need so that you can figure out what you want to do, because you don't need to have it all figured out by the time you're college age or leaving high school or wherever you're at, or really at any point in your life. You don't need to have it all figured out. But the benefits of having a sales role is that you get to learn the money-making skills. You're going to learn marketing. You're going to learn how to acquire customers, how to get them to actually buy and transact and trust you and do business with you. And you're going to learn how to take care of customers, and you want to make sure that they're getting a good experience. And it's things that are really important to know as an entrepreneur. But at the end of the day, when you're in the sales role and you're not the owner, you're not responsible for payroll, for all the expenses, for all the the weight and the intense stuff that comes with being the business owner. And you can get to that point someday. But if you're just learning, you're new to the world of business, you're new to the world in general, being 18, 20 years old, I think it's a great way to get experience, just getting into a sales role. But then you're just going to learn so much from really observing what's going on with the business that you're involved in, and how does the marketing work? How are we getting leads? How are we getting customers? How are people finding about our business and giving us money? And then what results are they getting? How can we make sure that what they're buying is working, and they're going to keep buying again, and they're going to recommend it to their friends? And you can learn that, and if it makes sense for you one day to translate all of those lessons to your own business, you're going to have experience, and you were paid to do it the whole time, paid very well. When I really got into sales and really understood how important it was going to be for me to get good at it, like there were months where I was making 12, 15, sometimes 17,000 a month in commissions, and that was at like 21 years old. So there's not many roles where if you even completed college, you're going to make that much money at that age. Sure, there's plenty of career paths you could take where you're going to make that kind of money, but this was something I was getting into quickly. I think I dropped out of school when I was either 19 or 20, and then within a year or two, I was making six figures a year. So I just want to put that out there for someone who's trying to figure it out. Like, this is the video I'm creating for myself when I was 17, 18, studying YouTubers, studying what they're doing with personal finance, what they're doing with business. I was looking into drop shipping. I was looking into wholesale and real estate. I was looking into whatever I could do to learn how to make money and work for myself. So then eventually ended up finding mentors, people I could work under, people I could make money while learning from them. And they had just so much more experience, so much older, and could teach so many more lessons about life and business. But I didn't have to figure it all out myself. So I think the core message of what I'm trying to get across is find somewhere where you can grow and learn and get paid for it, and hopefully get some mentorship from someone who has been through all of the hardship of entrepreneurship. Because it gets lonely. There's so much that you learn. Every day you're having to make new pivots. You're having to just go into new avenues of things you've never experienced in your life. And that's just so valuable. And you're not going to get it in school. You know, as much as even the professors may try to prepare you for it, you're not going to learn in school some of the stuff I've learned over a dinner conversation with a successful entrepreneur who is just trying new things, testing it, putting money behind it, and then getting results, and the marketing is working, and the way that they're selling is working, and the way they're creating their product is working. I truthfully can tell you I've learned more just over dinner conversations than you would ever learn taking any marketing class at a university, getting any marketing degree, really anything about business. And then when it comes to management of business, you'll learn that, let's say you're in a sales role, just learning how, if the company is successful, you're learning how it is being managed, what the structure looks like, how the meetings are held. And you're just getting that real world experience and seeing if it works or if it doesn't work, because sometimes it doesn't work. And that's a good place for you to learn things as well. But you won't get that in a classroom, especially taking online quizzes, doing homework. And if you're anything like me, you were just trying to do whatever you could to find the answer. And you might not even feel like you're learning while you're in school. So I want to encourage you, if you are paying money out of pocket to go to school, or if you're taking on debt to go to school, you don't feel like you're learning, or you're the kind of guy or girl that is paying people to do your homework, or you're talking people and they're giving you the answers, school probably isn't the right place for you. And the worst case scenario, let's say you get into some sales position, you start making a little bit of money, and you realize, no, this isn't what I want to do, this isn't going to work out. You can go back to school if you need to. People do go back to school. It's not as likely, once you get into your 20s and you're out of that, college age where most people are going to school, it's not as likely. But I'll tell you, as someone who did drop out of school, it's just, I couldn't imagine going back. Doing homework, sitting through lectures, it's not the same. And there was a point where I was still in school. And during the summer, I was paying money I flew to Miami, I went to a real estate conference, I was taking notes, I was reading all the material that they gave us at the conference, and I found myself on the plane reading a book that I had brought, and I was learning from it, and I was enjoying the book. And I was the kind of guy who, believe it or not, didn't read the books in school and just found the answers online, and basically cheated on any book report, because I just didn't feel like I was getting what I needed out of it. And I could get an A, I could find the answers, and I could get the good grades, but I wasn't getting anything out of the book reports. But then I realized education is important. I was getting education, and I was paying for it, like you would for school, but it was more like $500, $1,000 at a time instead of these $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 schools. I was learning specific skills from people who had experience, and I was getting real world knowledge, because I'm not going to hate on every professor, but a lot of times the journey of becoming a business professor is you study business in school, you study education, and you learn how to become a teacher, become a professor, and then that's just what you do your whole life. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but you're not a business owner. You don't have the business experience. Some schools have great professors and they do have great experience, but how likely is it that someone becomes a successful entrepreneur or business owner, or just someone who works in business and decides, well, I'm going to go take a teaching job? Some people do it, yes, of course, but it is not the majority of the professors you're going to run into. They're just trained to teach a specific topic that maybe or maybe not they have any experience in. This is really just food for thought. Wanted to put it out there for the person that needs to see this, that is realizing, hey, I'm paying for college. I don't even really want to go. I know that college isn't going to get me where I want to go in life, but it just seems like the next step. I'd encourage you to find some sort of entrepreneurial or intrapreneurial role where you can make some money, learn from a mentor, learn about how they're running their business and how the marketing and how the management, everything works without taking on as much risk. And you can even start that part-time while you're in school sometimes. Like I wouldn't drop out before I was making any money. We got a fire truck going by. But I wouldn't drop out of school before I was making any money. Like if you got nothing in the bank account and you're in that situation, like figure out how to make some money and make it work first. But then once it's working and you're able to eliminate school from just pulling the time out of your schedule, you just have so much more time to go learn and make money. And I want to emphasize again, I said it before, education obviously is very important, but traditional university is not the only form of education. So let me know if this is helpful for you, if this is something that kind of changed your mindset on school, or if you think this is a bunch of crap and it's something I shouldn't be saying. I want to know why you think that. But really, unless you know exactly what you want to do, which most people don't, it is tough for me to recommend that you go to college to figure out what you want to do. Because another thing that people say is, I'll go to college for the network. But it's like, what's stopping you from networking, that college is specifically giving you? Like you can go to free networking events. Go to Facebook right now and look up networking events in your city, and you'll find a way to go network and meet people who maybe went to the university that you were going to go to, and boom, now you've met them. Or I don't know what's stopping you from walking onto a college campus and just going to meet people, make friends, make connections. But really the people who have more experience, have a business going, making some money, profitable, and things are going well for them, that's the people you want to network with now, because you can build those long-term relationships, and it's just as meaningful as the people you've met when you're 18, 19, 20, drinking, going to parties in college, all that. You're going to make such better connections with people who are already doing the thing that you want to do. Because how many people you meet in college are not going to do anything related to the thing that you're doing? You might have people in your business class, obviously, they're looking to get into business, maybe finance, maybe marketing. But everybody at a business networking event that is typically free, that you could go to almost any night of the week in any city, how many of them are in business? All of them. Or at least they're trying to. So that's just kind of my thoughts. Hopefully this is helpful to someone. Maybe 10 years from now you look back on it and say, hey, I'm glad Tim made that video. It was really steered me in the right direction. That's just what I'm hoping out of this. So if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And maybe subscribe if you're cool. And we'll see you next time.